Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming out in this, the first of our Leadership Showcase series for MELA. My name is Rania Shalabi. I'm the Executive Director of MELA. I'd like to welcome you all, and before I hand over to my colleagues who are going to walk us through the session today, I'd just like to send some sincere thanks to a number of our supporters. First of all, Munsha'at, who have made this satellite event possible. Many thanks to Munsha'at, as well to all of our speakers who are taking part in the events today and tomorrow. I hope we see you all at the Semiramis. We're going to be there from 4 to 6 in the second part of this series. And as well to our good friends from Trend Micro for allowing us to use their space today. Thank you very much. So I'm going to hand over now to Sara Al-Ayed to introduce Munsha'at.
Thank you. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum, Bobby, and any English speakers with us. I apologize. I'm going to speak in Arabic. You have to practice, so it's a great learning for you, so you get all the notes. بس السلام عليكم جميعا وشكرا لكم. احنا أول مرة نكون موجودين في RiseUp Summit وسعيدين ونشكر منشآت زميلتنا العنود عبد الرحمن موجودة معنا من منشآت هم المستضيفين رائدات الأعمال اللي جايين من المملكة العربية السعودية. فمعنا 6 رائدات يمثلوا قطاعات مختلفة. فأحب إنه أعرفهم: غدير ختلان، العنود الهنوف الدوسري، ريم تركي دحين بتجهز عشان البيتش حقتها، فهي ما هي موجودة معانا. رحمة صالح، وفي أحد تاني فينها؟ في أحد ناقص. سارة طويرقي مو موجودة، إلهام غفاري. إلهام is also MELA، بس إلهام عشان ما هي قاعدة مع اللجنة أو مع الوفد، قاعدة مع MELA. فبنتشكر مرة تانية لمنشآت، وشكرا لكم أنتم على استضافتكم، وفخورين نكون موجودين. شكرا على المتحدثين اللي حيكونوا موجودين معنا. هدفنا ورؤيتنا لرائدات المملكة العربية السعودية يكونوا جزء لا يتجزأ من نسيج الأعمال في المملكة. احنا عندنا رؤية طموحة قائمة، الرؤية أنه توصل الأسميز أو المنشآت الصغيرة المتوسطة أنه يكون دورها فعال في المجتمع أو الناتج المحلي إلى 35% خلال 2030. فإحنا إن شاء الله على الطريق الصحيح. شكرا رانيا، شكرا لكم. Thank you all. Bobby, I can tell you what I said, like in a nutshell, if you like. Thank you. شكرا.
Thank you. Now I'm going to hand over to our first speaker of this session, my friend and colleague, Mohammed Al Ayouti.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I'm going to speak in English. I know most of you. But for those who don't, my name is Mohammed Al-Ayouti. My background is from engineer by education, and this is where my story begins. When I joined Cairo University, I went in with flying colors from my performance in previous years in high school. There were huge expectations from me in my performance to graduate and be a professor or be involved in academia. This was my family expectation. This is what the society thinks is success. Back then, in the 90s, I didn't really think this was the right definition of success. Nonetheless, I tried. I didn't do well. I started failing in university. After being first in my class all my life, suddenly I was failing. And actually last in my class. So even among the people who failed, I was last. At that point, I realized that I will never be of the certain expectation that my family and that society expects from me back then. I had discovered the internet. I was in love with being connected and being able to do stuff and basically feeling very powerful. And at that time, I had a professor who I didn't really think was good at what he's doing. But and there was a moment there I was thinking, society thinks he is the successful person, and I, no matter how hard I try, will never be that kind of successful person. So what do I do about this? So my view was to change the game and look for a place which is a green field, a place where we are both on the same level, and it's the same start line, and the finish line will proceed. I started my business that year, doing websites and internet-related stuff. In the 90s was a big thing. And I thought that doing this will take me somewhere. And then a couple of years later, I wrote down a piece of paper, and where do I want to be? I was 21 at the time, and my view was, I want to be a key player in my industry by the time I hit 30. And I thought doing what I'm doing will get me there. So I started working, started the business. Business got bigger, doing big accounts. And then fast forward a few years later, basically business got a bit tougher. Accounts prices went down, so accounts were smaller but much more. It wasn't giving me what I want to do. And then during a certain period of trouble in the company, I discovered that being a key player in my industry was never going to happen through what I am doing. So what do I do? So my view at the time was to switch to consulting in the same field, in e-business. I did some consulting. I had 3 paid accounts, and my 4th was a pitch to Vodafone. There are 2 Vodafone colleagues here. So my 4th was a pitch to Vodafone. Vodafone didn't call back, and then 6 months later they did and said, we don't want this project, but we're about to embark on our internet journey. Why don't you come on board? I had some experience with mobile internet, which hadn't come to the market yet. To me, I saw this was the future, and I believed I can do something here. I was excited about it, even though I took a hit on income, and I went to a corporate job. There were some advantages to that, of course, but back then I didn't see them. But the reason I made that switch was to become a key player in my industry. I was 29 and a half, and I said, that's it. I'm going to be there. I'm going to launch mobile data in the Egyptian market, and I'll become a key player. And that happened. And just after my 30th birthday, we launched mobile data. It was successful. We launched the internet, bundles, smartphones, and this whole journey. And then I realized something. What is the definition of key player? I hadn't thought about this for the last 7-8 years. And the definition here was 2 things. First, nobody knows I'm a key player. And anything I'm doing is going back to the brand I work for. And this wasn't satisfying for me. So I stepped out there and started building my personal brand. I started working with startups, with entrepreneurs, getting involved with events like RiseUp, getting involved with startup competitions, doing TV, doing radio, doing interviews in the press. And I was able to tick the brand part. So now people know I'm a key player. But the second question wasn't answered. It was very important. What is the value of the key player? And here there was a moment of truth. I realized that from my 20 till at that time 33 or so, the definition of key player was all about self-glory, which wasn't really what I should be aiming for. And I started thinking, what do I want to be when I'm 40, my 40 goal? And at that time, I said, I want to be a key player in my industry by the time I hit 40. But one thing was different. Key player in this new phase had a totally different meaning. It meant an enabler of others. And this is where a shift happened in my thinking. I want to be an enabler of others. This reflected and manifested in the way I did work even as an employee. I started Vodafone Ventures. I got it approved from management, from international management, the whole process that happens in a corporate, to be a key player, to be an enabler of others. We did Vodafone Ventures. We made some investments. One of the companies is Eventus, which are the company that made the app that you're all using for RiseUp. Another company is called Kengen, that eventually was sold to Samsung. And today, if anybody uses a Samsung smartphone, Bixby, which is like Siri for Samsung, the AI is Egyptian. It's one of the companies that we invested in. And this was a success. But it wasn't satisfying the hunger for me. The hunger was key player. You take a company, it's 2 or 3 guys. Suddenly it's 20, 30 people, maybe with their families like 50. Repeat the model 10 times, that's 500 people. That's not satisfying enough. That's not really an enabler of others. I don't think we should be working on that scale. So what do? I looked back at some of the work that we did in the company, And in telecoms, by the way, the scale is huge. Talk about millions and tens of millions of customers. And one of the apps that I had introduced to the company and sponsored, the company had grown from 4 guys to, I don't know, 50 or 60 people. But actually, the app was used by 2 million people to move from one place to another in a more efficient way. It was a traffic app. Then I realized, as an enabler of others, I'm not really enabling 50 people, I'm enabling 2 million. And I got very hungry. I must do something of that scale. And I'm coming close to 40. I have to do something about this. I tried to find a solution within the company that I couldn't find a solution, so I decided to leave. The economy wasn't good. I have a family, I have financial commitments. It's not easy to make that switch, but I had to do something about it because I was wasting my life. And I believe in something. Every minute that passes in your life is never coming back. If you don't invest it wisely, it's gone. Every year is the same. You cannot repeat the same year many times. There's a very famous quote that says you cannot live the same life 80 times. You can't live the same year 80 times and call it a life. I don't want to keep repeating my years. I had lost 1 or 2 years basically doing the same thing. This was a waste for me. So I decided to quit, and I spent 1.5 years wanting to quit and I was out in the market looking for a job. I didn't get an opportunity. Although I was approached by 5 or 6 different opportunities, none of them clicked throughout 2015. In a moment of peace with God, I said, Ya Rabb, and I tried. Dear God, I tried. But nothing happened. Anything that happens this year, I'll be very happy. I'll be very satisfied. That was on the 28th of January 2016. On the 28th of February, exactly 1 month later, I got a call from my boss telling me, Mohammed, come to my office. I went to his office and said, Mohammed, I'm sorry, we're letting you go. To me, this was the happiest moment of my life. I wanted to leave. I could not leave for a 1.5 years. And suddenly, I was a free man. And at that time, I was thinking of doing big things. And I joined MELA at that time, thanks to my mentor, Naveen Al-Tahri, who I used to speak to. And I used to tell her, I want to do big things. I want to explain what I want to do. And she said, you know what, you should join MELA, because MELA will help you broaden your horizon, understand where you want to go. And I left, I resigned on the 29th of February. I was in MELA on the 2nd of March, exactly 2 days later. During this period, my thinking changed. I went back home. I spent a couple of weeks thinking, where do I want to take my journey? Where next? I went to another mentor, a former minister, and I explained what I want to do. And he told me the most un-mentor statement or response a mentor would say. He told me, you know what? I'm thinking of doing the same thing. Why don't you come on board? So spent a few weeks, basically a few months, actually 4 or 5 months, getting up every morning. I don't have a job. I put on my suit. We go to meetings. There's no agenda. There's no direction. There's no deal. It's just keeping myself busy. I was happy to be busy, but also exploring the relationship. 4 or 5 months later, we started the company together, which is the company I work for today, Prime, to basically be enablers of others by doing in what we are good at, which is technology and digital transformation. So we became partners in a company that does digital transformation for the areas that have been affected because of the turbulence of the last 8 or 9 years. Fast forward to today, 2 years later, I'm the managing partner of the company. He's the chairman. Engineer Helmi will be speaking in our satellite event tomorrow. He has a much more exciting story than mine. Today we're doing transformation for the telecom sector, the financial sector, financial inclusion, working with government, fixing the mess that we have in the government on the digital side, some of it on the business side, trying to help with other countries in Yemen, in Sudan, trying to basically get these countries to step up. And every initiative that we do affects 1 million or 2 million or 5 million or even a whole population of people. And this is where, and funnily enough, the first national level project we signed was exactly 5 days after I turned 40. And what I learned from this journey is be very conscious of where you're going. You have to know if you want to drive north or you want to drive south. You have to know if you should be driving north or south. And you have to always be aware, are you driving north or are you driving south? Once these are aligned, you know you're in the right direction. And this to me was an amazing experience. I learned that. I learned that when you try very hard, God will open up the way for you. When I wanted to be a key player, I became a key player. Not because I'm the right person to be the key player, but because I tried hard and then a helping hand basically shifted the direction a little bit. And the third thing I learned is we're not on this planet to do a small job. We're not on this planet to live for 80 years and die and that's it. Your story doesn't end here. You have to create lasting impact. Impact that lasts beyond you for generations. And I reached a very important conclusion about the definition of success. I say success is not your net worth or your material assets. Success is the beauty of the world that you leave behind you and the beauty that you add to this world during your life and beyond. And very important, the beauty of the journey. And that's where I'm in tune now with that. I'm always working on impact. I think we should all be working on that, trying to do the things that you do, enjoy your day-to-day, but achieve impact, and this is the very important part. With that, I conclude my talk, and I thank you very much. Happy to take a question or two until Abdul Hamid Sharara comes here. He should be here in a minute, maximum. So, any questions? Thank you, Asma. Rabbana Khalik. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Walid. Ash Hayu, thank you. Sharara. I'm asking, no, there are no questions. Ask him if he has any questions. Any questions? Ask him. Faddali.
You mentioned that you had a very clear idea of where you wanted to go, and the definition was shifting a bit, but your North Star was there. What advice do you give people who really don't have a clue on where they want to go, but they know that something is missing and they're not fulfilled, and they're still trying to figure it out, and they don't know how to figure it out?
Okay, basically you're here for a reason, and it's about you don't know what that reason is. Sometimes you'll find it in where people cheer you the most. Sometimes it's where you do the most positive results with the least effort. You might have a talent that you haven't realized yet. You might not. But however, you might not discover it at age 20 or age 30 or age 40. You might discover it much, much later. That's okay. But make sure that every year is not a repetition of the same. Because if you're experimenting 1 year and you don't achieve results, repeating that one more year will not really make a difference. So make sure every year is different. Make sure you're always on the lookout. And make sure you're always learning. Because when you learn, you basically uncover stuff. And eventually when you uncover, you will uncover one stone. You'll realize that it's right there. Cut me off. I need to recharge. That's it. I don't know, does this answer your question? Thank you. Another question? Hi. Bob.
Hello. What epiphany for you in MELA? Like, what happened to you that kind of helped you shift? If you can kind of go there and share whatever it might have been.
It was one of the talks, and that talk was about all species aim to survive and grow. Survival and growth is 90% of the say 1,000 people, 900 people are aiming for survival and growth. And this applies to all people. It applies to all organisms, whether they're living organisms or not. So countries aim to survive and grow. Plants survive and grow. Animal species survive and grow. Humans, however, they're not all survive and grow. From every 1,000 people, these are my numbers, 900 aim to survive and grow. 90, or actually, the 900 are survival, the 90 are growth. 9 people are after peace and joy. And there's 1 in 1,000 who is actually an enabler that makes sure some people are able to survive, others are able to grow, others are able to live in peace and joy. So I felt that I want to be within, because the enabler of other thing was 10 years or 6 years on my mind. I wanted to be that 1 in 1,000 profile. And then I started thinking, how do you become that 1 in 1,000? What is survival? What is enabling peace and joy? So it was about how can you make people survive better? How can you enable people to grow better? How can you enable people to live peace and joy better? And that translated into what do I know best? And I come from a technology and telecom background, it was using digital and technology to basically help people survive, to grow, to achieve peace and joy. And that's where it all came together, and I realized that this is where I should be, and this is what my purpose is. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, شرارة هنا مش كده؟ اتفضلي. Yes, because when I left my job, I didn't switch jobs, I was jobless. So, yes. But yes, the question was, is this the right step? I was a bit worried about that. But by seeing my North Star, by having that clarity,
It's okay.
it was always about, is what I'm doing today helping me get closer to that or not? So without knowing where you're going, you will always be worried. But if you know where you're going, you will be worried a lot less. You will not be, you'll be immune to a lot of the hardships. When you see some problems, you'll know this is not my battle, someone else's battle. I have other things to do. So this is very important.
Making something, if you set up a goal for this year, I need to make this happen, and you did not.
Okay, I like this question. I once had someone shadow me coming from university, and in my previous company, and I was very proud telling her that I put this target and we achieved this, which was less, and I was so happy that I achieved that. I put a big target. And then in her report, she told me the feedback was, you're not putting realistic targets. And this to me was a problem. I worked on that. I started putting small, yes, and then pushing myself to, I can probably overachieve. Probably put a bigger target next year. But always make sure that the target you achieve is, you hear about SMART goals, right? Simple, measurable, achievable.
Yes.
Yeah, it has to be a SMART goal. And once the goal is achievable, and you're able to achieve it, and you focus, and you do achieve it, it makes you feel good. So you go to the next goal, and so on. So that's how it keeps me going. And then the pressure, I don't do drugs, but I'm this close. I hear they help, but I wouldn't advise to do that, of course. But this is how I dealt with the pressure. Also, faith, praying, patience, friends. I have an amazing support network. My MELA friends, and I don't want to say names, but most of them are in this room, and they all know themselves. But they've been very supportive of me, and that really helps because it gave me like an extended brain, I think, from my perspective. But they were able to give me a different perspective to life and to the troubles I was facing, and eventually I was able to achieve better or more informed decisions that really help propel. And hopefully next year I'll come tell a more exciting story.
Yeah, hopefully.
Thank you.